going. Great. So welcome everyone. Welcome to another one of our HeartPowered speaking community calls that we are running every month to bring you amazing speakers, experts, business owners, coaches, trainers, whatever you're doing together to really help you to pick up some hints and tips that help you to bring your speaking and your business to the next level. And we started this whole community actually in we had my speaker business community for quite a few years. Then at the beginning of Corona, we created a new community that we call the HeartPowered Global Nation. And right now, I'm just going to share that link in the chat so that if you're not part of that group yet, please join us so you stay up to date with everything that's happening on our side. And you can always pick and choose what is it that helps you next to step up with your speaking further. Some of you are here for us for the first time or haven't been here with us for a while. So let me very quickly introduce myself. I'm the founder of HeartPowered Business, and our mantra is speak up, scale up, impact the world. And a lot of people come to us because they say, I don't just want to speak, I don't just want to build a business, I want to build a legacy business and really touch many lives. And we've helped hundreds of clients from more than 50 countries by now to go professional with their speaking and to really double, triple, even quadruple their income with our Voice to Millions framework. And I myself have been a paid speaker for around 20 years myself. I've been on stages in more than 25 countries on 5 continents. And I know that if you want to step up with your speaking beyond our monthly community calls, there's something exciting happening next week as well. And I'm really already getting excited, and Mariam is as well. And I know Sarah will be with us as well. We run, again, our 5-day speaking booster challenge. And again, I just very quickly put a chat and the link here into the chat. So if you want to work for 5 days on really stepping up, stretching yourself a little more out of the speaking comfort zone that you might be in right now, really setting bigger goals around your speaking intentions, finding out where could you speak more, how do you get booked more, how do you build a bridge from free to paid speaking, or you want to raise your fee. These are all questions we'll address next week from Monday to Friday, where every day we give you little hints and tips. And then again, we give you a little bit of a fun task so that you take action, you start getting results throughout that week with us. So if that resonates with you, okay, I put a link into the chat. Just again, register. It's free, it's fun, and it's really always an epic week when we run this together. So again, it's not too late. We start next week, so get going with us on that. Okay, but again, today, this session is not about me. It's really all about you and about our precious guest, of course, right? That will inspire you really to get practical hints and tips that you can apply right away for your speaking and your business. You can also ask your own personal questions on how to make your speaking and your business flourish further. It's also a space for us to exchange with other professional speakers. And also, if you have any high priority projects that you have running right now at the end of our session, this is the space to let more people know about that, right? And also, I know for some of you, it's lunch break time, for some of you it's morning, some of you it's evening. So just take a break and have fun with us and get inspired. We always run these sessions very interactively, so ask your questions anytime. You can also put them into the chat, and again, we'll answer them as we go. And also at the end, we have some time where we answer some additional questions. Okay, also when you're not speaking, please mute yourself so we have a sparkling recording. And again, be aware that we are video recording this, so when you're asking a question, we might put your picture up. But I know you're a speaker, you love to be visible, right? So that should be an issue for you. So what is our topic that we're covering today? It's all about LinkedIn hacks to boost your speaking. We talk about how you upgrade your speaking profile on LinkedIn, how you book more speaking engagements through LinkedIn, through making the right connections. And I'm sure all of you, most of you at least, have been on LinkedIn for a while, if not all of you. And, maybe you're still not actively using the platform to boost your speaking yet, right? There is a lot of event organizers and speakers out there on LinkedIn, but the question is, how do you find them? How do you reach out? How do you connect with them? You might still find it hard to connect with the right people, get them to book you as a speaker. and raise your profile on LinkedIn. So this is what we talk about today. And our precious guest today will share her top tips to help you unlock the greatest LinkedIn opportunities, so that, not only to gain an unlimited supply of followers and also speaking related connections, but also to find out how you can get concrete speaking engagements booked through using the magic of and connection opportunities on LinkedIn. Well, let me introduce our guest today. Who is she? She's a wonderful friend of mine. Her name is Sarah Clay, and she's a LinkedIn trainer to B2C and B2B companies, as well as to solopreneurs. And she really offers a no-nonsense, accessible approach to her teaching, builds injecting a lot of fun into the learning. And her specialism is really working with entrepreneurs and business owners to help them get more leads on LinkedIn. I'm sure all of you want more leads also to advance your speaking. She's also an award-winning social media trainer and strategist. She has more than 10 years experience heading up marketing and PR departments. And she's also run her own social media agency, Sarah Clay Social, looking after social media for all sizes of businesses before focusing on training business owners how to love and leverage LinkedIn to really accelerate your business growth. She's also a guest lecturer at Westminster University, helping students establish themselves on LinkedIn. And she's also publishing a regular amazing newsletter on LinkedIn that you want to check out, and on her website, sarahclaysocial.com. And she's been published in Agora Pulse, Social Media Pulse, and is currently writing for the Social Media Examiner. And there's so much more to say about her, right? She also runs her LinkedIn Academy that she's going to talk about later today as well. But I think without further ado, Sarah, I just want to give you the floor. Welcome. It's so great to have you.
Thank you, Monique, for that amazing introduction. I mean, wow, I don't know what to do now. I feel that everything I say is just going to sort of got to build on that. So there's,
shine your light as you always do, Sarah. Go ahead.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Monique. It's been wonderful getting to know you, and I've been hanging out in your speaker group as well, which is just fantastic. It's such an amazing group of people, and you teach such incredible things. So I really want to help the audience today, hopefully a little bit, help them find the right connections and the right people on LinkedIn to get those speaking gigs. So I have got slides, although I may sort of dip in and out, because the one thing when I'm giving talks like this is I never know where the audience is at in terms of their skills on LinkedIn. So I'm going to actually ask you all on a scale of 1 to 5, okay, where 1 is haven't got a banner, just about scraped a photo together, maybe even haven't done that, and 5 is actually I feel quite comfy on LinkedIn and I'm posting and I am engaging. I'd love to know where you're at. So I'd love you to just pop in the chat if you're a 1 or a 5 or somewhere in between, because that'll help me monitor and work out where I'm going to pitch this talk, because I never really can tell. So let me just actually open the chat so I can see it.
Saying actually 4 or 5 already, which is amazing. There's also a 2 here, right? But a lot of people are pretty high up already. Okay.
Joe's on a 6. Wow, Joe.
7. She's above and beyond.
What are you doing here? Right. You should be running this talk.
Right, exactly. but some are at a 2, but the majority seems to be already, or 2 or 3, but the majority seems to be.
Okay, so we've got a mixture as usual with these things. So first of all, if I'm talking about stuff that keep listening, because there may be stuff that you don't know. And if you're hopefully you'll be learning at least 2 or 3 things from today. But I always say, Jo thinks she's been a bit optimistic. I always say that you can never learn or never hear anything too many times. You'll hear something once and you think, great, I get it. You hear it twice and think, I get it. You hear it the 3rd time, you go, I get it. And I think if I'm repeating something that you know already, then maybe I'll say it in a different way. Anyway, so I've got some slides and let's kick off with those. Let me do the old share screen shuffle and share my slides. Okay, let me just sort out my tech. this end. Okay, right. So this is me. And I want to tell you, I want to kick off with a little story about the wall that I'm standing in front of wearing that particular outfit, because this is a story about seizing opportunities. And for you as speakers, potential speakers, you need to make sure that you see opportunities and you grab them whenever you can. So what happened here was it was between lockdowns. I'd gone for lunch with a friend and we'd met up in central London. And as I left, I saw this jumpsuit in the shop window and I thought, gotta have it. It's got my name on. I want it. Walked in, tried it on, it fitted, and it was in the sale. Win-win. A couple of weeks later, I said to my husband, you know what? I need some more photos because we've been stuck in lockdown, you know, whatever. Come on, get your iPhone. Let's just go and take some photos in Primrose Hill, which is an area of North London. It's beautiful. If you ever come to London or you live in London, go to Primrose Hill because all the doors are different colours of all the houses. It's really pretty. I said, let's go over to Primrose Hill, then you can take some photos. He said, great, okay. We're cycling over to Primrose Hill. It's about 20-minute cycle. And I see this wall. And it's actually by a sort of recreation area where they do football training for kids and stuff. And I shouted to my husband, oi, oi, because that's what I call him. And I said, stop. And he turned around, he saw the wall. And he's like, wow, that's hilarious. Come on. So we jumped off our bikes and he got his phone out and started taking some photos. I was going to edit out all the weeds at the bottom, but I thought, actually, this is a story about real life. So I've left it grainy and real. And we just started taking some pictures. What was very funny was as we were there, a whole load of kids came out from football training and said, oh, look, it's Cosmo's mum, which is my son, because they were all his school friends. And this photograph, I use it a lot. And I took obviously quite a few photographs. So I just wanted to really implore with you guys, when you're on LinkedIn and you see something, you see a post or a comment on a post and you think, oh, that looks quite interesting. Seize that moment, comment, add something, add some value, and make sure that you don't lose opportunities. Okay, so hey, I'm Sarah Clay. I'm a LinkedIn coach, and I think Monique's already introduced me absolutely fantastically. So I think you know a lot about me already. You can find me on my website, which is sarahclaysocial.com, or on LinkedIn, which is where I am most of the time. And I do have an academy, Linking an Academy, where my lovely, wonderful members and I meet up almost every week, and they get lots of accountability to keep moving forward on LinkedIn, because that is a big, big problem. When you're on LinkedIn, you can start with all this gusto and excitement, and I'm going to post every day, and I'm going to spend an hour commenting, and then as time goes by, it all decreases a bit. I'm going to help you create a working strategy for you so that you can carry on that motivation. Okay. So what I'm going to talk about is 3 steps to help you get more speaking opportunities using LinkedIn. So for me, LinkedIn is a little bit like going to the gym, which I go to regularly. You've got to do a little bit of everything. So if, for example, you just go to the gym and all you do is work on your arms, you're going to have these great big arms like Popeye, and then the rest of your body is going to be really weak and you're going to injure yourself. But if you work on your whole body, a bit of core, a bit of legs, a bit of aerobic, you're going to have a much better whole experience. And that's what I talk about on LinkedIn. So we're going to talk about these 3 vital steps. But first of all, I just want to talk a little bit about why I use LinkedIn now in 2022. So very quickly, just a few stats. I'm not really into stats, but they are quite important. Lots and lots of people, over 800 million LinkedIn users on LinkedIn across 200 countries. And now that we can travel and visit countries, if you want to speak in all of these different countries, you need to be making connections in these relevant countries. Okay. 40% of total users access, the word being access, the platform every single day. Now, access is an important word because not many people post regularly on LinkedIn. In fact, I'm going to ask you, I don't know if I can get to the chat, what percentage of LinkedIn users regularly post on LinkedIn? What percent do you think? It's quite small. Come on, let's have a little competition in the chat and see if anybody gets this right. Gee, you might know this, but let's have a look what we've got. 1.5 to 3, 2%, 5%. Oh, you're good, you lot. You know what you're doing. It's actually around about 1%. So Denise, 10%. So only 1% of people regularly post on LinkedIn. So if you are regularly posting on LinkedIn, the chances are that your post is going to get seen by more people. Okay. Okay. 37% of millionaires worldwide have a LinkedIn profile, and 44% take home more than 55K per annum. It's higher net worth people on LinkedIn, so it's definitely worth you hanging out there. And 4 people are hired every minute on LinkedIn. So if you want to get hired as a speaker, you could be one of those 4. Okay, and look at the stats for the best social network for lead generation compared to Twitter and Facebook. LinkedIn's smashing it, quite frankly. So I always say to people when they come to me and they say they want some LinkedIn training, I say, what do you do? Are your clients on LinkedIn? Because if they're not, there's no point in you wasting your time on a platform where your clients aren't hanging out. Chances are they will be on LinkedIn, but it's always worth checking. Okay. So what is LinkedIn perfect for? For people like you who are looking for speaking opportunities, it's perfect for visibility. That's the main thing. And I think for you people, that's going to be really useful for you. It's wonderful for showing your authority in whatever subject it is that you speak about. You can use LinkedIn to really show how clever and knowledgeable you are. Growing your connections, of course, we have first degree connections, we have second degree connections, and we have 3rd+ degree connections. First degrees are our friends, second degrees are our friends of our friends, and the 3rd degree plus are our friends of our friends of our friends. And you start off in the middle with your firsts, then you grow your seconds, who then become your firsts, and then your thirds become your seconds and your firsts. Hope that makes sense. Relationship building. So LinkedIn isn't about selling. It's not about running around saying, I'm brilliant, buy my thing, buy my whatever it is. It's about building relationships to then create business. And LinkedIn is brilliant for doing that. And it's great for lead generation. So you can be very active on LinkedIn, looking for relevant people to connect with and talk to build up your speaker profile. And of course, it's available all over the world. It's free. You don't have to pay for LinkedIn. So I will answer one question that I always get asked. Do I need LinkedIn Premium? No, you do not. You don't need LinkedIn Premium unless you're doing a lot of what we call outreach. So if you're wanting to go out and connect with lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of people every single day, you do not need Premium. Okay, just saved you loads of money. And of course, you can access LinkedIn wherever you like. Now, I don't know about electricity and water. It's a bit health and safety, but you really can. You can be on your phone, on the bus, walking down the street, whatever it is, you can jump on LinkedIn for a second, 5 minutes, however short a time, wherever you are. Okay, so how are we going to get you more speaking opportunities? So the 3 vital steps. So the first step is to complete your LinkedIn profile. Second step is to create engaging and relevant content. And the third step is the art of social selling. Now, some of you may be scratching your head here, not knowing what that term means. I'm going to dive into each one of these in a little bit more detail right now. Okay, completing your LinkedIn profile. It's very, very important on LinkedIn that you're recognizable, because once you're recognizable on LinkedIn, you'll become known. And when you're known, you'll become trusted. And that's when people want to work with you and do business with you and hire you. Okay. So very quickly, these brands, they're so iconic. Okay. And the one on the right, the Chanel one, do you know, I can actually smell my mum, and because she used to use Chanel 5, and I can actually picture her and smell her. They're so powerful. And it's really important that on LinkedIn, your profile is so powerful, because first impressions last. Okay, so I'm going to quickly walk through some of the steps of your LinkedIn profile and help you optimize yours and give you some tips and tricks. Right, so that's a LinkedIn profile. That's what mine looks like. And just try to remember what that banner looks like. So I'm going to be talking about it right now. It's big. The banner is huge. It's a really big piece of visual real estate, and it's so important that you maximize it as much as you can. Okay. So what do you want to be known for? My guess is you guys want to be known for speaking. So have photos of you speaking on your banner, and then people will just see the photos and go, ah, that person is a speaker. Okay, so that's exactly what I've done, because this is what I do all day long, present and speak, and that's what I want to do more of. Okay. You can put information on there. If you saw on mine, I've written that I've got my Linking In Academy, that I teach one-to-one, that I teach in groups, etc., etc. Put a little information in there. What is it that you speak about? Perhaps would be a good something to write on there so that people know what it is. If you only want to speak in your local area, talk about or show a picture of where you live. Be geographical, to position yourself geographically. Okay, profile photo. Next up, make sure that it looks like you now, because what people do is they put the photo up and they forget about it. We change. I know we don't like to admit that we look older than we did last week, last month, last year, but we do. If we've grown a beard, we wear glasses, we've had our hair cut, make sure you change your photo, but keep an eye on it and ask your friends, does it still look like me? If I walked into a cafe now, would you recognize me on that photo? It's very, very important. The other thing some people do is they'll have a photo of them looking away or doing something. Look into the lens, because that's going to build that trust that you need, okay? Good quality photo, doesn't need to be professional. Mine's just taken on an iPhone, but make sure it's clear and the lighting is good. What are you going to wear on your profile photo? You're going to wear what you want people to think you wear or see you wear when you're speaking, because it's about positioning you how you want to be seen, okay? So it doesn't have to necessarily be a suit and a tie, but something that you want people to remember you, so that when you go to a speaking opportunity, a speaking gig, you're wearing the same kind of clothes, okay? Make sure the background is clear. So I've used a background remover tool on mine. You don't have to do that, but just make sure it's not too busy, like mine is today. Much, much too busy for a profile photo. It's only tiny. You want all eyes on you, okay? And don't do that. What a lot of people do, gone to a wedding, they've got all their finery on, their makeup, the big wedding group photo, and they'll cut out the photo of them with someone's hand on their shoulder, or, you know, somebody else in the background. Nah, all about you. Okay. This is your headline. This is so important. It sits right below your name and it goes everywhere you go on LinkedIn. So whenever you post, whenever you comment, whenever LinkedIn suggests that perhaps, you know, people might want to follow you, the first bit of your headline goes everywhere you go. Okay, so make sure you've worked it out. Okay, so it's very, very short. It's only 220 characters. Who's your ideal customer? Who is it that you want to employ you for speaking? Mention them, talk about them in your headline. It's a little bit like when you're walking down the street and you hear your name and you go, oh, hello. Talk about the kind of people that you want to hire you. Say who they are. Say what it is that you can do. What is it that you talk about? How can you help them with your speaking? And what's your USP? What's your superpower? Why should I hire you to speak at my conference when I could hire somebody else who speaks about the same kind of subject? Why are you different? Are you more fun? Do you specialize in a certain area? Do you talk in a certain way? Just have a think, what makes you different, okay? Wear the hat of your audience. And I say this the whole time you're on LinkedIn. Think about what they would want, because all people think about when they're reading your profile and reading your post is what's in it for me, okay? So put their hat on whenever you're doing anything on LinkedIn and make sure that you're speaking directly to them, okay? Now, your about section, that's the great big long bit, really, really long, 2,600 characters. Use as many of those characters as you possibly can, because you want people to stay on your about section for as long as possible, for two reasons. One reason is the LinkedIn algorithm. Ooh, scary, I know, but it's not really. So the LinkedIn algorithm loves people who have profiles that are busy, that are visited a lot, and that have a lot of what we call dwell time. So if somebody's hanging out on your about section and reading about you, the algorithm picks up that. And so when you post on LinkedIn, the chances are your post is going to get pushed out to more people, okay? Or perhaps when people are searching in the little bar at the top, you're more likely to come up higher in that search. So fill all those characters. You've got tons of space. It's a great big white canvas. There's nothing there. It's quite scary when you first start typing. So use space, use emojis, use capitals. You can't use bold or italics formatting. You can't do those, but try and use other tricks in the menu on your keyboard that just make your about section look a bit more interesting. If you have a look at mine, it's peppered with orange and purple hearts and dots and things. And it just, to me, makes it a bit easier to read. Keywords. So keywords are really simply the words that people will type into LinkedIn when they're looking for you or your goods, your services. So let's say you speak about health and wellness. Health is a keyword. Wellness is a keyword. Health and wellness is a key phrase. So using these in your about section will also help you come up in those searches, and not only on LinkedIn, but also on Google. Now, I've just remembered, I did say there were two reasons why you needed to fill out all of your about section and put as much in there as possible. So the first reason I explained was the algorithm. The second reason, which I think is more important, is because the longer people are there reading about you, getting to know you, they're getting closer to you. They're getting to know you better, and they're going to be more likely to hire you and book you for those speaking opportunities if they feel that they know you, because people work with people, okay? So when you write your about section, you want to grab people in. That's what you want to do. So you want an initial hook. So if you look here, when people first go to your about section, they see those three lines and they see more. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little secret here. My first boyfriend, when I was, I think 11, was called Peter Seymour. So whenever I look at this Seymour thing, I always think of Peter Seymour, who was really sweet. He had blonde hair. My mum loved him. He was ever so boring, but anyway, he was very sweet. So you're Peter Seymour. What happens here is people click through, and when people click that Seymour, it triggers the algorithm. Okay, so you want to write enough interesting stuff here that people click through that Seymour. And I'm going to give you a tip. If you look along the line, you will see I'm mid-sentence when it gets to Seymour. Had that been the end of a sentence, chances are, and there's probably stats somewhere that say that people wouldn't bother to click through. But if you're mid-sentence, they're more likely to click through to find out what's happening in the rest of the sentence. So my advice to you is, when you write your about section, write it in a Word document, get your character count sorted, paste it into your LinkedIn. If on that third line, there's a sentence end, find another word or take away a word so that you're mid-sentence when you get to Seymour. Okay, really, really cheeky tip. Okay, so your about section, you write your hook, you write more details about how can I help you. Remember, you're wearing the hat of your audience. What can you give to them? Why work with me? Why hire me as your speaker? Again, it's your USP. And talk about yourself. Talk about why you do what you do. Something personal for people to grab hold of and to feel that they know you, okay? And always, always, always at the bottom, put how to contact you and how to get in touch. When people access your about section on iPhone only, bit bizarre, but it's true, which is probably about 20 to 30% of LinkedIn users at the moment. Those links at the bottom, if you put a link at the bottom to a calendar or to, not to email, but to a landing page, that's a clickable link. So people can click and go straight through. So don't send them to the homepage of your website, because then they're going to have to click again to find out more. Send them to a landing page, or send them to a Calendly link or a calendar link so that they can book in to talk to you. Okay. The other sections I'm going to whiz through very quickly. Your experience sections, that's all your past jobs. You can put PDFs in here. You can put all kinds of information, but again, write stuff. Keep people there as long as possible and make sure it's relevant to what you do. Education, definitely put your education in there. I went to Northumbria University. It wasn't that good, it was all right. And the University of York. But what LinkedIn do is they find your alumni and they send you to your alumni and say, you might want to follow this person because you went to the same university. So make sure this is filled in. Volunteering, put your volunteering stuff in there. It's about people getting to know you. Put your skills in. These are keywords. So you can put 50 skills in here. Put them in. You can get people to endorse you. I'm never sure quite how valuable that is, but do anyway. But definitely put your skills in. Recommendations are so important. Ask for them and give them to other people as well. You'll see at the top there, people can see the recommendations that you've given to others, and it shows you as a nice altruistic kind person. But definitely ask for recommendations, because people want that social proof. Okay. Your accomplishments, any courses that you've done, put them in. Now, this bit at the bottom is interesting because it's called interests. LinkedIn do that. They pull those through from your activity on LinkedIn. So always be mindful of where you're hanging out on LinkedIn, because it does show. Okay. So content creation. Right. This is the scary bit that a lot of people really, really worry about. So how are you going to consistently post good quality, educational, entertaining content that's relevant to your audience? Again, wear that hat. We can create buckets. This is so simple, ladies and gentlemen. You'll laugh at my content strategy. And this is what I used to use for my clients when I ran my social media agency, and it worked. I was award-winning, so it definitely worked. So we create buckets of content, bucket of things that we can talk about, so that we're always varying our topics of conversation. Because if all you talk about is, I'm a brilliant speaker, I spoke here, I spoke there, I'm a brilliant speaker, I spoke here, I spoke there, it's not going to keep your audience entertained and engaged. You need to switch things around and talk about different stuff. Okay. It's a little bit like the gym analogy, make sure that you're talking about all the different things that you do. Talk about the problems that your speaking solves. What is it when you go to speak? What do you talk about? What problems can you solve for your audience when you're speaking? FAQs. Now, this is an interesting one. So just think about whenever anybody sends you an email and, regarding maybe I want to have you, come to speak, think of all the questions that they ask. How much do you charge? How long do you need to speak for? Do you have slides? All of these different things you can talk about as posts. Okay. Testimonials. When you get testimonials, do talk about them and post about them, because people love a success story. So they love that, but it's also social proof. It's not showing off when you post a testimonial. It's showing proof that you're good at what you do. Okay. Behind the scenes content. People love a bit of behind the scenes content. So every now and again, I'll take a photo of me standing here from here, so that you can see what's going on behind. There's my little kitchen behind there where I make my tea, and people love that because they're getting to know you, okay, and talk about you, why you do what you do, what do you do at the weekend, but always spin it back to what it is that you speak about and what you do for your work. So for example, I'm going to stick with the health and wellness example. I went climbing up a mountain at the weekend. It's so good for my head to do these, to do some exercise and get out in the fresh air. So try and bring everything back to your work. Okay. So how often can you realistically come up with ideas for content? So I talked at the beginning about getting really excited and posting every single day and then go, oh, I've run out of ideas. The really important thing on LinkedIn is that you're consistent. You're consistent in how often you're there. You're consistent in your messaging. You're consistent in how you look. But yeah, definitely be consistent in how often you are posting. Okay, so can you post once a week? Can you post twice a week? Maybe even 3 times a week. But what's more important on LinkedIn is having a regular posting schedule. So it doesn't have to be hard. You can literally write it in your diary. This week I'll post a post about me. Next week I'm going to post a post about a testimonial. So just vary your content and be regular. Okay. Now, the art of social selling. So this is the third part of LinkedIn. I'm just looking at the time. So you've got your profile. So whenever anybody comes to your profile, you look amazing. They know exactly who you are. You've got your keywords in there. You're coming up in searches. Brilliant. You're posting content. You're telling people how clever you are. You're talking about stuff that you know. You're helping people get to know you better. Great. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, but we need to be doing social selling. What is it? So when this phrase first started to become a bit of a buzzword, when I had my agency, I was like, oh, crikey, what is this all about? And I was a bit nervous about it. People were writing books about social selling. So I thought, right, I better dive in here and find out what this is all about. It's really, really simple. It's not a complicated strategy at all. But what LinkedIn isn't, as I've said, it's not about selling. So we don't want Wolfie or Del Boy, if you know who he is, on LinkedIn. So this is what social selling is, ladies and gentlemen. It's this. It's very, very simple. It's the process of developing relationships as part of the sales process. That's all it is. It's very, very simple. And that's why my hashtag is LinkedIn Simplified, because I had all these books on social selling and I've condensed it into one sentence, because that's what social selling is. And that's what we do on LinkedIn. Okay, because to build trust, you need to build relationships. It's so, so important. I cannot tell you how important this is. And I know there are some people here in the audience today who are brilliant at doing this. I won't name them out because I think that might embarrass them, but it's about building relationships. And when you build those relationships, that's when the inquiries will start to come. And you won't have to go out and push yourself out there on people, because they're going to start to come in. Okay. So this is how LinkedIn works. And I explained before, you've got your first degree connections. So they've all got friends who are your second and third and fourth. And the more that you can build these relationships and build on these relationships, the more people you're going to have wanting a piece of you. Okay. Use your network. Use those first degree, the first circle. Use them. Ask them for recommendations. Ask them for testimonials, ask them for referrals. Is there anybody you know that might want my services? Is there anybody you know in this space that I can talk to about maybe working on my speeches? Okay. Request informal meetings. Hey, why not? I call it linking out. So you DM people and you say, hey, do you want to chat? Do you mind if we have a little chat? Because I'd love to get to know you better. Okay. Look for learning opportunities. And speak for free. Do speak for free. It's really important. So if you see opportunities on LinkedIn that are looking for free speakers, if you're starting out, it's a really good way to practice and to get more confident and to build your network and to build your portfolio of speaking. Okay. So you've got all these foundations and we really need to build. We're going to build on all of these relationships. So how are you going to keep all these relationships? If you think about all the millions, hundreds of people that you're going to be connecting with on LinkedIn, how are you going to keep them warm? You're going to comment on their posts. So when you comment on somebody's post, always make sure, actually, I'm going to go into these in more detail in a minute. I'm just going to give you the list first. Okay. So keeping relationships warm on LinkedIn is what's going to help people get to know you. So commenting on posts, send direct messages. Yes, can be scary, but it's okay. Join groups. I'll talk to you about groups, and give testimonials. Okay. And the most, sorry, I've got my slides in a muddle. Okay, I'm going to focus on these four. So commenting on people's posts, always make sure that when you comment, you add value. You don't just say, oh, that's interesting, that's nice. Put your thought leadership in the comments, because so much can happen in the comments. Gold can happen in those comments, because it's not just about posting. Send direct messages to people. So when you connect with somebody, or you're having a conversation with somebody on LinkedIn, send them a direct message and connect with them and say, hey, you know, I found that really, really interesting what you said about so-and-so, and just build on those conversations. Join relevant groups. LinkedIn groups are a bit hit and miss, I won't lie. And of course, they're only as good as the people that run them. But have a look for groups. Use the search bar at the top and type groups, and look for groups in your sphere, in your industry, and try, you know, ask to join. Most of them you have to ask to join and wait to be approved. And once you're in those groups, if you see there's no activity in the group at all, leave and join, find another one. But if there is stuff going on in those groups, build conversations, build relationships, chat, introduce yourself, talk to people in those groups, okay? Because they're like-minded, you know, they've got similar interests to you. And giving testimonials, I talked about this at the beginning. So I'd love a testimonial for this talk today. That would be amazing. So go to my profile, click on more under my banner, and then there's a menu drop down, give a recommendation or a testimony. It's called a recommendation, actually. Do that to lots of different people, because they love it. They absolutely love when you open your LinkedIn, someone's given you a recommendation. It's such a nice thing to do. Okay, so the main thing on LinkedIn, I'm just going to talk about sort of overarching how to be on LinkedIn, is to be kind. Okay, always be kind on LinkedIn. Never be nasty, never be horrid. Just be kind as you possibly can, because people remember how you made them feel. Be consistent. I've explained this. I cannot say it enough. Be consistent in your branding, which is how you speak, as well as what you wear and your colors. Show up regularly. Be consistent. Share your knowledge. How will people know what you know unless you tell them? Okay, so share your knowledge in your posts and talk about what it is that you're an expert about in your posts and in your comments. And have conversations with people. This is what LinkedIn is for. It's about getting together and chatting and getting to know each other. And then finally, make friends, because those friends are going to be your allies. They're going to be your referrers. They're going to potentially hire you as well. So that's all of the things we need to do on LinkedIn, because people work with people. So what are you going to do next? You're going to build your profile. You're going to get yourself a posting strategy, and you're going to comment on between 3 and 5 posts a day. Do you think you can manage that? Okay. This is me. That's how to find out about my academy. I can put the link in the chat at the end, but that's where to find me. But do come and find me on LinkedIn, because I love making friends and I love making connections. Thank you for listening. Okay, I'm going to stop the share.
Wow, that was kind of a firework, right? In here, that was wow, so many hints and tips. And I know, I see a lot of you, Janine and Keith, and everyone else smiling big time, right? And I know that maybe some of the things that Sarah said at the beginning, you might have heard before. The question is it in place for you, right? Do you have it done? Because again, there's always a big difference between knowing and doing, right? And Sarah, I get your help from time to time as well to look in my profile and, fine tune my LinkedIn approach, although I'm quite active already. There's always something we can improve.
Always.
So I'd like to open the space here to see what questions are coming up, because, hey, this is your opportunity right now to have Sarah with us right here, right now. What questions come up? And there is some questions already, like from Madeleine, for example. Can we use emoji for our headline from our laptop, or only from the phone? That is wonderful.
No, you can use emojis. There's now it's quite complicated because it depends what keyboard you have. I'm looking at mine. I've got a Microsoft keyboard, and if I press Control, Alt, and Space, I think the menu comes up. You'd have to Google it because, as I say, it depends on your keyboard. On my Mac keyboard, it's something completely different, but it's usually two things and a space. The emoji menu comes up, and you can use them there.
Wonderful. Great. So any other questions, anyone? I don't know who has questions, like Janine, Keith, or everyone else. What would you like?
Anzel's asked a question. What kind of people can you connect with for public speaking opportunities? Right. Good question, Anzel. It depends on what it is that you want to speak about. It depends on if you want to speak in person or online. But I would say just hang out in the right spaces. So for me, where did I start? I don't know where I started. Social media groups, because I talk about social media and LinkedIn. Universities is actually a good place to start speaking. So you might want to try some universities, but really, Monique, that's a question for you, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I can answer some. So, I mean, from experiences also, and we haven't spoken about that very much today, but as you all know, also LinkedIn offers you an opportunity to search for concrete people or concrete keywords or something like that. So what I do is, for example, I also advise that people that work with us on a regular basis, when you have a certain event in mind, or even a certain event type, first you do your Google research or wherever you're doing research online, and you find out like these are certain events where I would like to speak. And then actually what you can do is you can even look for certain keywords on LinkedIn or find out, who are the people connected on LinkedIn, who are the people running these kind of events. And then what you could do is on LinkedIn, you could see, are you maybe already connected with these people directly or through a second or third degree connection. So, if you identify like a summit or a conference, or you want to speak at a leadership or executive meeting in a corporate, you look at who are actually the people putting that kind of event together. Often it's actually visible online, and then you'll use LinkedIn to reach out to these specific people, right? But then again, there's also a lot of, as Sarah said, there's a lot of platforms on LinkedIn as well, and groups and communities. So you could, even enter keywords, like for example, certain conferences you work with, but also, for example, if you want to work, or speak at an HR conference or wherever else where you are getting in touch with corporate leaders. Then again, you can search for these kind of things on Google before and then identify specific connections, or you can even enter certain keywords on LinkedIn in this way. So I hope, Ansel, that gives you a couple of things to get going with. But that's what I always do. I'm always surprised to find out like, oh my God, that person runs this kind of event. Oh my God, we're already connected. So perfect. Or, oh my God, my friend Sarah is connected with that person. I can make an introduction, and then I ask her for an introduction, and we're playing this way. So yeah, and I'm just saying great, thanks. So I hope I gave you some suggestions on that. And also, a final thought. There are also communities where event organizers or event professionals hang out on LinkedIn. You can even tap into these kind of communities and connect with some of these people in there.
Yeah, and the other thing, because there was an awards in my network, and not everybody would have seen this, but obviously in my own network, recently there was a big awards ceremony called Digital Women. So if you see your friends, contemporaries, posting about I'm at this event, etc., have a look, as Monique was saying, who organized that event, because okay, you've missed it this year, but the chances are there'll be one this time next year. So find out who the organizer was, start getting to know them on LinkedIn, ask for an introduction if you need that, and then who knows, you could be speaking at that event next year.
Right, and a final hint on that as well is often our speakers open us doors to conferences or events where they've spoken before. So again, you can check who are people that have spoken at a certain event where you would like to speak, and see, are you connected with these speakers in some way? Because they might open you some doors, or they might at least give you some information about how did they get selected and what's the speaker selection process. So, yeah, I mean, we can give a lot of hints, but I think that if you get going with those, we're definitely.
That's a good start.
in the right
Definitely a good
direction.
start. There's one thing actually I didn't mention, or two things actually I didn't mention, Monique, which are two new-ish things to LinkedIn. And I just didn't think I'd have time to talk about them, but obviously I do now. I've got 5 minutes, which is your profile video and your voice record tool. So if you go, for example, to my LinkedIn profile, and if you click on my my profile photo, it comes alive. It's Harry Potter, ladies and gentlemen. It's so exciting. So you can record a 30-second video in there. And as speakers, this would be absolute gold for you guys. So go and have a look. I think I might have a blog about it somewhere. I'm sure I have, how to create it, but it's actually not that difficult. So if you go to, you have to upload it from your mobile. Create a 29-second, not a 30-second, because it might get trimmed. Thank you, Monique. And create a video that you can show to people, and so that they can get to know you. And as speakers, that's going to be really, really important. And again, the voice record tool, which used to be called your name pronunciation tool, I have to say that slowly, again, on your mobile, if you click on your profile to change your profile, scroll down and it will say your name pronunciation, and you've got 10 seconds to record what originally was just your name. But of course, Sarah Clay doesn't last 10 seconds. So I think we all realized quite soon that we could actually write some more, speak some more. So there's some great ones. So go and listen to some on LinkedIn. You can listen to them and watch them from your laptop or your mobile, but you can only upload them on your mobile. So have a look at various people's and get some ideas of what you can say and what you can film yourself saying. So those are really good tools, especially for people who want to speak.
Yeah, and also,
people want to hear your voice and they want to see you in action.
Exactly. First impression counts, right? And again, great. Any other questions from anyone today to Sarah? Yeah, Janine.
Actually, I have a quick question.
Jump in. Yeah.
Hi, Sarah. I'm curious about the LinkedIn Social Selling Index. Is that just a gimmick, or is it really something
that's such a good question, Janine. So yeah, the Social Selling Index, your SSI score. So this is basically LinkedIn, for those people who don't know, this is LinkedIn giving you a rating for various different aspects of how you operate on LinkedIn. So it's your visibility, it's your content, it's your how you connect with other people, etc., etc. We're never really sure, to be honest, whether it's serious or not. But what's important with that, and actually with any of your metrics on LinkedIn, is that you're comparing yourself to yourself. So if you go onto LinkedIn and you look at your SSI score, and let's say it's 25%, you think, oh, crikey, I've got work to do. And, you might then go to your profile and make some changes on your profile, and you'll see you've gone up to maybe 30, 35%. So you know that according to LinkedIn, you're doing better. So that's how I would use the SSI score. Some people do take it very, very seriously, and I wouldn't want to do that. And you'll get to, I think the highest I know anybody is, I think, 82%. It's very, very difficult to get above that. So don't start going, oh, I need to get to 90. Oh, God, what can I do? No, don't do that. But if you can compare yourself to yourself and gradually build it, it isn't a bad indicator of your strengths and weaknesses, actually, to be fair.
Okay, thank you. That helps clarify.
Use it, but don't take it too seriously.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I was just going in once every few months and kind of checking to see if it gone up and down. And I wasn't sure the 4 components, if they were, it gives you 4 components, it gives you a score.
It does, yeah.
And I wasn't sure, okay, well, what can you do to impact or influence those? But okay, you answered my question. Thank you very much.
Good. I have actually, I don't know if I can find it. I have written, oh, hello. Oh. Yeah, sorry. I pressed something on my computer. Somewhere I've got a blog. I was going to see if I could find it and put the link in the chat.
In case other people have, because I always find it hard to find the link for it.
Yes,
So
exactly.
here's the link in case everybody else is curious or can't
Let me
find it.
see. Let me very quickly. I don't know if I'll be able to pull it up actually. If I can very quickly, I will put it in the chat so that other people can find it. Oh, crikey. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to email it to you, Monique.
That's okay. We can still share that with everyone.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll email it to you.
And also, just for everyone as a reminder, if you really want to step up with your speaking, you want to get booked more to speak, you want to, speak at more prestigious stages, also more in other parts of the world, or you want to build a bridge from free to paid speaking. Next week, we're going to really walk you through my speaking blueprint, that got me to speak in more than 25 countries and helped me to double my income year after year for quite a few years, thanks to speaking. So I'm putting that link to our Speaking Booster Challenge again into the chat. Would be lovely to have you. And again, if you know others that you feel they have a message worth spreading, please join us on that one. Okay, just that was a little bit of a, again, reminder for everyone. And I know, Sarah, you're going to be with us on that one too, right? But let's see, what is the time saying? I think we have 1 more minute, maybe time for one more question. Anyone else would like to ask something? And thanks, that was a powerful question, Janine. Thanks for asking it. Great. Okay.
See if I can find that link in a minute.
Thank you out there. Okay, that's great. Good. So then why don't we round it off if no one else wants to ask a question? Sarah, any kind of final inspirational, motivational message?
Final inspirational. No, I found the link. I'm going to give that to you. Inspirational message for LinkedIn. Don't be frightened about LinkedIn. I think a lot of people are very nervous about showing up on LinkedIn or saying something silly, etc., etc. But quite frankly, just be on there and be yourself. There's the link. Just be yourself on LinkedIn, because at the end of the day, that's what you're selling. You're selling you. So be you.
Yeah.
And have fun with it. Enjoy it. Because if it becomes a struggle, people will be able to read that in your writing. So enjoy it. I love it. And I love how you bring humor and fun and lightness into it all the time. So it's so inspiring. Sarah, I love it. We don't want to be boring. We need to have fun and enjoy things. Work's hard, right? It is hard, blooming hard. So we need to enjoy it. Exactly. And you know what? I think that it's just really, a lot of people say, well, it's so, it's time consuming. It's like, you're right, I need to show up, I need to take responsibility for showing up on a regular basis. Just approach it as a game, everyone, right? So, just see it as a, like what, again, as we always say, what is marketing? Is loving up our people, right? So people that follow you and that watch your posts and read your posts, engage with you, again, think about what can I give them? And especially speakers, we always say life is speech material, right? There's so much happening in our day-to-day life where we say, oh, that's a great reminder. Or, oh my God, I never looked at it that way. Or, wow, that is a wording that, again, that nails it for me now that I hear it in this way. Share and share generously, right? And again, as Sarah said, also share what other people say about you, right? I mean, celebrate yourself. It's not about, showing off or anything. It's just celebrate yourself and share it with everyone, okay? But thank you, Sarah, again. So come and connect with me on LinkedIn. Come and find me on LinkedIn, because I'd love to meet you all. And I shared your link. I shared your LinkedIn profile link already in the chat, so everyone will have it, right? So connect with Sarah, learn from Sarah, get inspired by Sarah, and also if you have time next week, just a couple of hours, we're going to help you to bring your speaking to the next level. Sorry. And we'll be back definitely next month with another amazing guest as well. So, but thank you first of all for here with us today. Thank you, and thank you all for being with us today. And catch soon. Okay.